Welcome to episode 48 of Pulse of Physiology. I'm your host, Dr. Jim Davis, and today we're exploring homeostasis. I'm just kidding, we're exploring hemostasis. Hemostasis is the process that prevents excessive blood loss following injury. This complex yet highly coordinated process involves vascular spasm, platelet plug formation, and coagulation, ultimately leading to clot stabilization and repair. By the end of this episode, you'll understand the key steps of hemostasis, the coagulation cascade, the role of calcium and vitamin K, and how clots are later dissolved through fibrinolysis. So let's get started. So after an injury, the first step is vascular spasm. This occurs when damaged endothelial cells release chemicals that trigger vasoconstriction. This narrows the blood vessel, which reduces blood flow and pressure at the injury site. Think of this step as turning off the water supply to minimize leakage to a pipe while repairs are being made. Then we have platelet plug formation, which is a temporary seal. In the second phase, platelets circulating in the plasma are activated by exposed collagen at the injury site. This process occurs as follows. Von Willebrand factor, or VWF, binds to exposed collagen. This helps platelets stick to the damaged area. Activated platelets become sticky and adhere to the damaged vessel. Platelets release chemical signals that promote further platelet adhesion, vasoconstriction, which reinforces that vascular spasm, as well as activation of clotting factors, including the coagulation cascade. This step forms a temporary platelet plug that slows bleeding but is not strong enough for long-term vessel repair. Think of this as stuffing material into a leaky pipe. It works for now, but a more stable fix is needed. Finally, we have coagulation, which is the formation of a stable clot. For a more permanent repair, the body forms a fibrin clot through the coagulation cascade. Fibrin is the active form of fibrinogen, an inactive plasma protein, and one that we referenced in our podcast episode on blood. Now, this protein must be converted into its working form, and this process occurs through three interconnected pathways. There's the intrinsic pathway, which is contact activation, and this is activated by clotting factors that are present in the plasma. This begins when factor 12 contacts exposed collagen inside the vessel. Ultimately, this leads to the activation of factor 10, which is essential for clot formation. Then there's the extrinsic pathway, which is the cell injury pathway. This is triggered by a tissue factor, or factor 3, which is released by damaged cells. The extrinsic pathway also leads to factor 10, or X activation, and occurs simultaneously with the intrinsic pathway. And then finally, there's the common pathway. This is where the final clot is formed. Both the intrinsic and extrinsic pathways converge at factor 10. Factor 10 converts prothrombin into thrombin, and thrombin converts fibrinogen into fibrin, which forms a stable mesh to hold the platelet plug in place. Fibrin crosslinks strengthen the clot and secure the repair site. At this stage, the clot acts as the final repair, much like a plumber permanently fixing a broken pipe. Now, I also want to mention the role of calcium and vitamin K in coagulation. Calcium is essential for activating multiple clotting factors, which help regulate the coagulation cascade. However, vitamin K is a necessary cofactor that allows calcium to bind to these clotting factors. A deficiency in either calcium or vitamin K can lead to uncontrolled bleeding due to impaired clot formation. Once the vessel has been healed, the clot must be removed through a process called fibrinolysis, and this occurs as follows. Tissue plasminogen activator, or TPA, converts plasminogen into plasmin. Plasmin breaks down fibrin, which dissolves the clot and restores normal blood flow. This final phase ensures that clots do not persist longer than necessary and prevents complications like excessive clotting or vessel obstruction. So let's summarize with 6 key takeaways. Hemostasis involves 3 main steps: vascular spasm, platelet plug formation, and coagulation. Vascular spasm reduces blood flow to the damaged area, which minimizes blood loss. Platelets form a temporary plug which initiate clot formation via a positive feedback loop. Platelets attract more platelets, which keep attracting platelets. Coagulation converts fibrinogen into fibrin, which stabilizes the clot through the intrinsic, extrinsic, and common pathways. Calcium and vitamin K are critical for proper clot formation. Fibrinolysis dissolves the clot once the vessel is repaired, which prevents excessive clot buildup. And so with that, we're done with episode 48 of the Pulse of Physiology. I hope this episode has helped clarify how hemostasis prevents excessive bleeding while ensuring proper clot removal. Join me next time for episode 49, where we'll explore pulmonary functions and how the respiratory system supports gas exchange and oxygen delivery. Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and stay curious.